For the first time this season, within this match between FC Barcelona and Villarreal, we have finally saw Gavi, Pedri, Ansu Fati start within the starting 11. This was a starting 11 that I believe was very exciting. There was a lot of potential within a 11 like this. We're like, oh my god, like we have Pedri, Gavi as interiors, Frenkie De Jong as the pivot within the midfield, and then we also again have Ansu Fati on the left. So we looked at this whole lineup, we're like, wow, we feel very inspired, right? Because there is a lot of quality. Xavi knew that the only way Barcelona can go past Villarreal, knowing that they have the best defensive work on the field, right? One of the best defensive teams within La Liga, they're going to have to bring in the highest quality players possible within this squad. And we saw exactly that. Barcelona have beaten Villarreal 3-0. It was a very entertaining performance. All of the goals were amazing. Yes, Lewandowski has showed up. Ferran Torres and Ansu Fati continue to be very dangerous on the wings. And that midfield, let me tell you, that midfield, it is a midfield that Xavi Hernández has to be working with for like the next 4 to 5 years. This is a midfield that has so much potential. There's so much that you can do with a midfield like this that does again consist of Frenkie, Gavi, and Pedri. And we are going to be discussing all of this within today's video. And the way that I am going to be organizing this video is talk about the first half and then talk about the second half. The first half is going to be way overloaded compared to like the second half because a lot of the things that we liked did happen in the first 45 minutes. And so before we go further into this video, I do want to shout out our sponsor for today, and that is going to be the OneFootball app. If you guys want to find out where I do get my information from, like for example, within this match between Barcelona and Villarreal, all of the information, all of the stats, everything regarding the world of football in general is found within the OneFootball app. They do have great articles that you guys could read. And again, there is team stats, player stats you can follow, whether it's Manchester City, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, FC Barcelona. You can follow any team and any player. The only thing you do have to do is go down on the pinned comment. There is going to be a link that'll take you straight to the app store. Then you can download the OneFootball app from there, set exactly who and what you do want to follow, and then you'll be notified immediately and live on your phone for free. I hope you guys do enjoy it, and thank you OneFootball for supporting a content creator. But now let's go back into this video and let's talk about the first half, because look, that first half, it was everything, right? It meant everything to us, to every Barcelona fan. There is only good news. There is no bad news within the first 45 minutes. And this again first revolved around Frenkie, Pedri, and Gavi, because that midfield was exceptional, right? They were the reason on why Barcelona were already winning 3-0 very early within the game, within the first 45 minutes. Like Villarreal came with one very clear game plan, and that is basically what every La Liga team wants to do against us, like all the time, is to basically create a low to mid block and then counterattack when they do have possession. Like what else is new? Every team likes to face us within that way. So we knew that within our end, we had to figure out how can we stop this counter that Villarreal is going to be trying to create on the field and just steal the ball away from them, because that was going to be the idea, is to take the ball away from Villarreal when they are going on the counter, because they will be out of their defensive shape and it would leave so much space behind them. Throughout this season, Barcelona have been very unlucky when it comes to doing those things, but within this game specifically, we have successfully done that thanks to this midfield here. Frenkie De Jong, right, he did play more like Busquets than he did play like himself, I would say. He waited within his areas. He was never that type of player to like jump in every time he felt nervous or he felt like he really needed the ball. When Villarreal had the ball, he put his foot in the right places, he intercepted the ball so well, and he read the game well overall. And every time he did receive the ball, whether he took the ball away or again received it from another player, he immediately lets the ball go and puts the ball into open space. So he always made the correct decisions. When he needed to let the ball go immediately, he did that. When he felt like he should be dribbling and going into the midfield and making those amazing runs, he did that in the correct moments. And we also look at the map here. This is basically the amount of recoveries and where he did the recoveries within the first 45 minutes, and a lot of them came on Villarreal's own side, and that is amazing, my friends. That is what you call a true central defensive midfielder for FC Barcelona, and Frenkie De Jong has delivered. And so everything that Frenkie was delivering on, those used to be his weaknesses. When we were talking about Frenkie trying to do like interceptions or trying to like wait in the correct areas for the opposition to be making those mistakes, Frenkie De Jong could not really do that because he had trouble reading the game well as a pivot, but he did exactly this. He is improving. And then yes, later throughout this game, like as we were going to the 30th minute or like 40th minute, Frenkie was growing. He was having his own little twist to that role by also adding in his runs. It just gave Barcelona a much different face. They looked so dynamic on the field. And then when it comes to Pedri and Gavi, right, these are monster interiors. Pedri and Gavi, like we saw them a few hours ago or like 2 days ago, we saw them together on stage. We saw Gavi winning the Copa trophy, and then for them right after they have been given that type of recognition, to put out a performance like this, it is just a beautiful moment. It is a beautiful moment for every Barcelona fan to see these two players deliver in this fashion. They were able to win the ball in their own half. They were also able to show that they can start the counters, and every time Villarreal tried to counter press when we received the ball, Pedri and Gavi were immovable. Like you could not take the ball away from Pedri and Gavi. They did not do a single mistake when they were within their own half and Villarreal were trying to counter press. And that is one of the reasons on why Barcelona were able to get out so well from their own half and go out there and attack. And the Camp Nou cheered. Like when we saw Pedri and Gavi dribbling away or passing their way into the opposition's half, the Camp Nou, all of the fans were standing on their feet. And so I loved everything about what Gavi and Pedri did against Villarreal. They were able to steal the ball, drive with the ball, and of course filter the ball, filter those passes to Ansu, to Ferran, to Lewandowski. This was, like, I would say, a touch by Xavi. You can really tell that Xavi Hernández has been training with these players and telling them exactly what to do and what the role is going to be moving forward. So we go into the first goal that Barcelona has scored. We first saw a world-class pass coming from Pedri. Jordi Alba receives the ball. He makes a cross into the box. Lewandowski takes down two players and scores the goal. That is how you beat a low block, is by making those passes that many of us cannot see, and Pedri did exactly that. We go into the second goal. We can see that Gavi and Pedri, like what we have talked about before, work together, communicate with each other. Getting out from our own side, going on the counter, Gavi carries the ball, passes it towards Lewandowski. He receives the ball and puts the ball into the top right corner. And speaking about wingers, right? Speaking about Ferran Torres and Ansu Fati, can we talk about how Ansu Fati and Ferran Torres performed in the first 45 minutes? Like, Ansu Fati did score the third goal, and that was because of the work of the wingers. So we saw Ferran Torres being lethal, being confident, taking down 1 to 2 players, looking for Ansu Fati. Ansu Fati receives the ball. He almost really missed that opportunity badly, but luckily it hit the post and the ball bounced straight to Ansu Fati's feet, and then he puts the ball into the back of the net. But the fact that Ferran Torres and Ansu Fati were able to combine in this way, it was so beautiful to see. Like, finally we see the Ferran Torres that we saw a few months ago in the beginning of this year. So I like what's being built here, right? I think that seeing these wingers being so inverted, making those runs, always being like way more closer to Lewandowski than if you were to compare it to like Rafinha's and Dembele's average position, I think that this really does suit Lewandowski much more. Like, he really does appreciate having Ferran Torres move into the middle, or Ansu Fati moving into the middle, and to create through that defense. So we look at who started in the midfield and who started in that attack. I do not want to move away from this. I feel like Xavi Hernández should not be moving away from this, because we need to add more emphasis on what's currently being built here, because they're only getting better. It is only good news. Ferran Torres is looking confident. Ansu Fati is finding his goal scoring form. Lewandowski found 2 goals. Pedri and Gavi are untouchable. Frenkie De Jong is understanding what it's like to be in Busquets' role. And so we go into that second half, and the only thing that we could do is give props towards how we entered into that second half, meaning that we liked the way that midfield was set. We knew that going into that second half, Ansu Fati did enter in being one of the top goal scoring wingers within this Barcelona squad, right? Is giving competition to players like Rafinha and Dembele, putting them on their feet and making them understand that yes, there is someone like Ansu Fati who's only 19 years old that is looking to be there and to be a starter within FC Barcelona. You can really feel that healthy competition. And we went into that second half knowing that we have scored 3 goals within a span of like 8 to 10 minutes against the best defense within the league, and that was Villarreal's defense. But let's talk about the second half overall, right? Because I think that we saw much more flow than actual pressure to attack in that last 45 minutes, because if you look at the attacking activity that Barcelona had in the second half compared to the first half, it was very low compared to the first half. I think that one of the reasons why we did see Barcelona like not score in that second half, it is because they wanted to reserve the energy of many of these players, because we still have a very hectic schedule ahead. We still need to face Bayern Munich and much more. Because look, Barcelona had 65% possession, and by the 80th minute, Villarreal did not have a single shot on target. It just shows you that Barcelona were basically toying around with Villarreal. And then we look at the substitutions that Xavi Hernández did make in the second half. It just only shows you that he wanted to protect his players. The players that did leave in the second half before we entered the 75th minute, it was Sergi Roberto. He did leave. Frenkie was out. Ansu Fati was also out, and Lewandowski was also out. The players that did come in was Bellerin, Busquets, Dembele, Rafinha, and also Gerard Piqué. I was very surprised to see Piqué come into this game because Koundé was having an amazing match. Shout out to Koundé for always protecting FC Barcelona when Villarreal were on the counter-attack. There was just no way Koundé was going to be beaten within these 90 minutes. Koundé always looked very overconfident, I would say, every time it was up to him and only him to defend that one player. player of Villarreal. So shout out to Koundé. Can you imagine what this defensive line could do when we have Ronald Araujo back, with Koundé being paired within those two positions of that defensive line? It's going to be amazing. So like I've said before, you can just notice that Xavi Hernández was trying to protect players like Frenkie, Ansu, Lewandowski, and also Koundé. And there was a standing ovation, right? The Camp Nou, they loved the way Frenkie did play. As a matter of fact, I would actually argue that Frenkie should be the man of the match within this game. And you can just get a sense, right, that just looking at how the fans were doing that standing ovation, seeing how we were so proud of Frenkie. It's just the beginning of Frenkie finally settling in within FC Barcelona after 3 long years. And then as for Rafinha and Dembele, I did not see them as effective as we used to see them like a couple of games ago. We really did miss the explosiveness. The energy was also really missing. There was only one very big moment in that second half between these two players when Pedri makes a great pass towards Dembele. Dembele receives it. He crosses it towards the box. He founds Rafinha, and then Rafinha like just completely misses that opportunity. And that's basically it. But what does this mean, right? Does this mean that Rafinha and Dembele have to step up? Because right now Ferran Torres and Ansu Fati are making a very strong case on why they should continue to be starting in every game and take up the majority of the minutes. Is Rafinha and Dembele going to be acting towards a situation like this? These are moments that really do show what type of team as a collective you actually have. Like, who knows? What is Dembele going to do? What is Rafinha going to do? They're going to have to score. They're going to have to bring an assist, because if not, Xavi Hernández is going to continue to build with players like Ferran Torres, Ansu, and Lewandowski, something that many of us have been loving so far. But that's basically it, right? That is going to be wrapping up today's Barcelona post-match review. It was again a very entertaining, amazing performance, and I just cannot wait to see what Barcelona could do on Sunday against Athletic Club. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.